The information we have here we gathered from the internet about new COVID cases. So on these dates, these were the new cases, the positive cases. So we want to represent this graphically, meaning in a chart. So to do that, we've typed in all the dates on the left-hand side here in column A, and then put new cases to identify what these numbers mean. So again, positive new cases, and this is actually in Allegheny County. So if we go to insert and we go to chart, notice when I do insert chart, no data is displayed in the chart. So to make a chart in Google Sheets, you have to select the data that you want to include in your chart so that Google Sheets knows what to include in your chart. So I'm going to delete this one, and now I'm going to select everything that I have here. If I go to insert and chart, Google Sheets will automatically create a chart for me and decide what kind of chart is the best one for this. Now, if I wanted a different type of chart, just because it gave me a line chart, I didn't have to necessarily use that. I could use a column chart if I wanted to. I could use a bar chart going across. But in this case, I am going to use a line chart. To move your chart to another page, you're going to click the three dots again, go move to own sheet, and here we are. We're going to change a couple things on here. We're going to add a trend line. We're going to add another data series so that you can see how to add trend lines and update your chart if you have additional data to plot on the chart. So if I hit edit chart, I have setup and customize. Bring this over here a little bit more. And under customize, I want to go down and I want to change this series here. This series, I want to change it to be a different color. So new cases, I want this to be a different color. I might also want a point shape to be diamond, so all the diamonds reflect the number that is associated with how many new cases. Now I'm going to collapse my series and go to chart titles and access titles. I'm going to add a couple things here. So for chart title, I'm just going to put COVID-19 positive cases. And then for the subtitle, I'm going to put Allegheny County. So what I've done is put a chart title, COVID-19 positive cases, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. I went over here and changed the font size so it's a little larger. Down here at the bottom, I have a few dates. I can leave them there. If I click on this horizontal axis, it'll automatically take me to horizontal axis. If I want to treat the labels as text so I can see all of the dates, instead of them being every other, I will check this box. If I want to change and slant my labels so that the date kind of goes up in a slant, I can choose one of these, or I can type an actual percentage in for the, or not a percentage, I'm sorry, a degree in to create a different, slant. Anyway, I want to add some data labels to the series. So again, back to series. I'm going to go down here and add data labels. You can see all the data labels. I can position them. Notice I can see all of them except this one. This one is not appearing, and it's not so much a glitch, it's just this is at the top, so it's not going to appear. So if I change my position maybe to right, you can now see them all on the right hand side, or I can just say below. That might be better. And then I can make that a larger size, a smaller size, in different font if I want to. I need to go back up and make an axis title for my vertical axis on the left. So the vertical axis title, I do want it to say new cases, but I want it to say new COVID cases. As you can see over here, it's popping up, but I need to make that a little larger so it's easier to see. I can also put a horizontal axis title. In that horizontal axis title, I'll just put dates. And then I'll make that a little larger. Okay. Now, I have that data, but now I need to add something. I forgot something. I need to go back to my spreadsheet. And now I'm going to add in information about the deaths. So what I'd like to do is put all the death numbers in. So I went to the internet and I looked up all the death information according to what the CDC put online. And now that I have that information in, I want to add it to my chart. But I don't want to have to recreate this entire chart. So if I go to Edit Chart and I go to Setup, I can come down here where it says New Series, or where it says Series. I want, as you can see, New Cases is there, but I want to add a series. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click this little button here for Data Range. This box will pop up. To select that data range, you have to go back to your spreadsheet and select everything associated with the number of deaths. So that means the title and all of the numbers. Notice it'll say COVID PA, which is the name of my sheet down here, and then C2 through C16. And that is the columns that we are in, that we have entered in the data. So click OK. And notice it automatically gets put down here. And you might think it looks wrong, but it's not. Because the new COVID cases are such a much higher number than the deaths, it looks odd. So yes, this is my 0 deaths and my 8 deaths, but this is on a scale from 0 to 400 because both of these are being plotted on this left vertical axis. So what I can do is I can add a secondary vertical axis over here so the numbers are different and the numbers are associated with this series. So to do that, what you have to do is go to Customize, and then you have to go to Series again. And you don't want to apply to all series. You want to choose the series that you want to change. So we are going to choose Death. And I might even change the color while I'm here. And then if you notice down here it says axis, left. Well, right now it is on the left axis. That's where it's plotted. But we're going to plot this according to the right axis. So now if you look, you will see that this pink line goes with this right axis and this purple line goes with this left axis. Well, it's easy to tell right now if, say I didn't put this label over here, new COVID cases. New cases are represented by the purple diamond. So I know that I'm reading this side of the chart for my number range. Now deaths, I should label this over here. So I'm going to come back up to Chart Access Titles. And now I have a right vertical axis title. So over here, I'm going to type COVID deaths. Now I have a secondary axis. Not every chart has to have a secondary axis, but in this case, it makes more sense to do something like this because this gives a better representation of the death toll on or from April 19th all the way to May 2nd. Because the line down there at the bottom was really hard to tell if there was big spikes or little spikes. So this is a little bit better to see. Now the last thing I want to show you is a trend line. So let's just look at new cases. Let's say that we wanted to add a trend line for new cases. Not worried about death right now. Just new cases. Well, I want to add a trend line. Trend shows the change in change over time. So the new cases from that start date to that end date, I want to create a linear trend line basically depicting whether it's increasing over that time period, mean number of new cases, staying the same, or decreasing. So again, you're going to go to Series. And under Series, since we want it for new cases, I'm going to choose New Cases. I am then going to come down here, the very bottom, under Data Labels. It's called Trend Line. So I'm going to check Trend Line, make sure it's linear. I'm going to change the color to something different. I might make it a little bit darker by changing the opacity, meaning make it more opaque. And also maybe make it just a tad bit thicker. In this case, I can make it thicker because the lines are all spaced out. So again, this trend line is for the new cases, but notice it hasn't popped up here in my legend. So to do that, I want to choose under label, custom, and I don't want it to say trend line for new cases. I just want to put new COVID cases trend. Now it'll appear up here. I'm going to make my legend a little bit larger only because it is a little bit hard to see. So I will collapse that, go to legend, and then make that just as large. So you can see that the trend, the new COVID cases trend, you can see that from April 19th to May 2nd, even though there's a ton of new cases, it is actually decreasing a pretty good amount over that time period. So there you have it. Trend line is added to an actual data series. You have a series that we added after the fact by using setup and adding the series, by adding new cases, death, by choosing add series, and then going back and adding that range of cells that we wanted to add. But I will say, if you want to delete a series out of here, you can always come over here and choose these three dots and remove any series that you don't want.